A few weeks ago, I was at my job as a bank teller when one of our regular customers pulled up in the drive-through to cash his check. I very specifically remember seeing a woman in the passenger seat with him. She was heavy set, an older woman with short brown curly hair, glasses, and a purple and blue floral shirt. Looking out her window away from me with her hands in her lap, I greeted them, "How are you all?" which I know I would not have said if it had only been one person. Anyway, right when they pulled up, the only other person that works back there with me went to the bathroom, so she never saw them. And I turned away from them to go at my desk and cash the check. Towards the end of the transaction, I get an alert that does not really register for me until a few minutes later, but it said the date of death of the wife's name and the date of death. I don't remember the exact date, but I know it. She said she had just recently died. Like I said, that's not a major alert, and I know the man, so I knew it wasn't fraud. And I just clicked away from the alert without thinking too much about it. When I turned back around to give him his cash, she wasn't there anymore. I noticed this immediately. For a second, I thought maybe she had gone to the trunk or something, and I kind of peeked around to confirm that she had gotten out of the car and was back there. Nothing. She drove away. At this point, I'm like, what the hell? At the same time, my boss was walking back into the branch from getting us some slushies at the Sonic next door. And I started telling him that our other coworker about my experience. As I stated to describe the women, he literally cut me off and finished the same description of the women. My stomach dropped. He told me to follow him and he took me outside. And I pointed to a lamppost. He pointed to a lamppost. He said when he was walking up, he saw a woman there with the same description. But he did a double take because he realized he did not see her casting a shadow. By the time he looked back, she was gone. There is no way there was enough time for her to get away from the car to the post and go anywhere else. I believe it was the man's wife. This is the only time I have ever experienced something like that. Every time I see that customer now, he is by himself, but I cannot help but think about her. Hello, everyone. This is my first time telling my story. My SO, the significant other, and I were laying in the bed, almost asleep when he moved his body. I felt his back in a weird way. I asked him what's wrong, and he did not answer. 1 or 2 minutes passed, and he's talking again, telling me there is something in our bedroom. I immediately turned on the lights, asked him, "Are you serious?" He was, and he told me that there was some Egyptian like big figure with the snout of a wolf and hairy hands pulling his feet up in the air and pressing his hand around his neck so he could not speak. This is not the first time he told me about a different Egyptian figure. It's been some years since he told me about this figure for the first time. He says that it often stares at me, never touches me. It seems like it's there to protect me. Whenever I'm psychologically hurt or very distressed, it appears more often, like once a month. It has already hurt him once. It's extremely strong. He had wounds on his back from sliding across the floor after being pushed backwards by it. There is no way he could have gotten them any other way, and he did not have them 5 minutes before. I do believe in paranormal, supernatural stuff, but I never would have thought it would become this dangerous. Apparently, I cannot see these things, only feel something if it's very close. My SO tried to clean our apartment with some things he took from a temple. Don't know which kind, and it did work for about half a year and more. I don't know what to do. So I thought the readers of this might find this story interesting. I just got back from the week's stay at a beautiful country manor. This place was built somewhere else around 1540, so has some real history behind it. I was there with my partner, my 2 kids, and my parents. It is situated in a fairly remote countryside, so very quiet at night. We have stayed there once before, and on that occasion there was one slightly strange encounter where both me and my partner heard one of the kids come to the bedroom door one night, only to find no one there. Otherwise, there was just an odd atmosphere at night and nothing else. This most recent stay, however, things intensified. It started with me being woken around 3 a.m. to what I thought was my partner tapping me on my waist. He, however, was sound asleep, facing the other way. Never mind, I thought, so I rolled over and went back to sleep, refusing to think too much on it. This happens a few nights in a row. Also, the bathroom light had taken to hissing and flashing whenever I went in there. But I put this down the age of the place and that it was prone to power cuts. Anyway, one night I had this really intense half asleep, half awake dream. Someone was calling me. Really calling me. And I was half asleep and half awake. And something else was with me and telling me absolutely should not go for it. Like it was insistent I should not go, and even though I really needed to pee, I should not go and just hold on until the sun comes up. It freaked me out, but I kept it to myself as I did not want to scare the kids. So the next day I'm talking to my mom, and she tells me that the night before she heard someone calling mommy. She would check around and on the kids, they were asleep and she could not find what had been calling me. So I then told her about the dream, and yeah, we both found it a touch unsettling. Then on my last night there, I was sleeping with one side slightly off the edge of the bed. Something clearly ran a finger over my shoulder and down my arm. Again, The partner sound asleep facing the other way. So I tucked further onto the bed and went back to sleep. So yeah, there is my story. Nothing exactly very terrifying, but maybe of interest to some of you.